part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
We're back, baby, for another episode of the Ball Card Show. This is the Sports Podcast
for the Sports Collector.
My name is Jason Otero.
I'm Gary Lemaster.
We're glad you're with us today. And as always, we are brought to you by the Press Play Podcast Network.
I really like how you break that up.
I try to mix it up. I have to say 5 things every time we start, but you never know what order it's going to be in.
Or how you're going to syllabize it, or how you're going to break it down, or... Yeah.
I'm really good at syllabizing.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
I think so.
Do you?
I do. I think so.
Do you feel confident with that?
Did you know what I meant when I said it?
Yeah, like...
Then it's a word.
Emphasis on the wrong syllable?
Yes. Yeah. So it's a word. If you knew what I meant, it's a word.
I don't think that's how that works.
I do.
All right, let's jump in. Ball cards. You had a really cool pickup over the weekend. I know you're going to say I had a lot of good pickups, but let's start with the one that I'm actually caring about at all.
Okay. Do you want to introduce it, or you want?
No, go ahead. Walk through.
No, it was just so I set up at my favorite show last Saturday at South High at the American Legion in Columbus here, and the show was a little bit slow from a traffic standpoint, which we're coming into summer, so show traffic will get a little bit slower. It's pretty normal. In the winter, we're kicking. There's nothing else to do. It's cold. People come, but in the summers, it's nice out. People aren't as anxious to go spend 3 or 4 hours inside at a show. But dollar-wise, it was still good. But at the end of the show, another one of the vendors there is an older guy who I talk to every month. Really nice guy. He doesn't do much with cards, but he has lots of autographed memorabilia. Every third or fourth show, he has a different Mickey Mantle ball that's JS8 or PSA that he'll sell. And he's got some really cool stuff. And I always talk to him. And he came over to me at the end of the show, and he hands me this ball. And it had a cert with it, but it was the old scoreboard cert, which if anybody's listening, you've been in the hobby for a long time, you remember Ken Golden, his very first company was the Scoreboard Inc., and they did autographed memorabilia. And when they launched and did their thing, they were very respected, and everybody respected the cert. But then they ran into some financial trouble, and a few of their guys stole a bunch of the certs and then started doing fakes. And
this is a lot of background.
It is, but it's important. It's important. So when you see a scoreboard cert, you kind of have to be a little wary because it could be a fake product. But this is a ball that is signed. It was a product that Scoreboard did before things got wonky, called the Kings of Baseball. And it's signed by the all-time strikeout leader, Nolan Ryan, the all-time hits leader, Pete Rose, and at the time, the all-time home run leader, Hank Aaron. So it's a triple signed ball. And he brought it over to the table, and he's like, hey, would you be interested in this? And I said, well, depends on the price. I'm going to have to pay to have it certed by JSA or PSA or somebody because the Scoreboard cert doesn't do me a lot of good. And I can pick out a fake Nolan auto. And I can pick out a fake Pete Rose auto pretty easy. And those two were good, I could tell. The Hank looked a little off, but I couldn't imagine a situation where somebody had a real Rose Ryan ball and it would fake a Hank Aaron auto. So he ended up selling it to me for what I felt like was a steal. I think I paid $150 for it. And the next day, there was a show in Cincinnati that JSA was close by at. And so I decided to go down to the show and drop that ball off and get it certed by JSA. Pass cert. So now I've got a really nice ball with a JSA cert. And the show itself was okay, but I found some really, really nice pickups there too. I picked up a Paul Goldschmidt Topps Update rookie, the cognac version. So the like yellow diamonds. That's $125 to $175 card depending on the day, and I got it for $60. Picked up a bunch of like just $3, $4, $5 stuff that I would got. There was a guy that had his $1 and $2 and $5 boxes at 50% off. So picked up a bunch of like Chris Bryant Bowman first papers for 50 cents and a bunch of Chris Bryant Bowman chromes for $1 and quite a bit of stuff like what was the other one that I got? 4 or 5 of that all I paid $1 for. They're going in my box at $5 and they comp at like $7. I don't remember who it was, but anyhow, it was a solid little show for some reasonable pickups.
Yeah.
And you were excited about the ball.
Yeah, that was sweet. Nolan Ryan, Pete Rose, and Hank. Yeah, that's a good one to have.
Yeah.
Might be in my collection at some point. I just haven't decided
yet.
Yeah.
You're trying to be
we'll see how bad,
responsible.
We'll see how bad Gary gouges that one. Although if I was driving all the way, for me, a 2-hour drive is like 15 hours for me. That's an ungodly distance.
Yeah, driving to my house from your house. There's a reason we podcast at your place, because the 30-minute drive to my house, you'd think I was asking you to donate a kidney to me.
I do not have a Shelby GT to get to your house in 30 minutes. Which is going to be
interesting, because your
you
new
do
job,
not
you're going to drive
get to
all
my
over the
house
place.
in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
If it's not rush hour, it is 30 minutes.
If 35 at best.
That's false.
No, it's not.
Do you drive like you're 80?
A little bit.
Okay, well, that's a you problem, not a me problem.
I also went to Cincinnati over the weekend with my dad, old Pops. Went to see the Red Legs take on the Yankees, which was always cool. They're not at Cincinnati too often. And I would just like to let you know that Aaron Judge is an absolute freak.
Yeah.
If he wasn't walking, he was hitting line drives. He hit a line drive with so much velocity over the third baseman's head that the majority of people could not find the ball until it bounced off the wall. That's not exaggeration. Also, that ball was outside.
Yeah.
And he pulled it over.
He's 6'7".
That frame is ridiculous. You just realize there's not a way to pitch to him.
No.
And they're throwing stuff off the plate, and he's just destroying it.
He's the guy that if you try to intentionally walk him, but you throw it a little too close to the plate, he's just going to take a step across and hit it out.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Went into extra innings. The Reds lost. I knew once we had to go to the fifth bullpen pitcher, it was over.
Wasn't that Matt McClain's debut?
No, it wasn't his debut. Yeah, it was the next day. Now Matt McClain, right now, he's starting to hit the ball. He had his first jack. He's hitting for extra bases.
2 days in a row. Yeah.
What I'm blown away with is his plate discipline. He makes pitchers work. He runs them deep in the count. He had a 13 pitch at bat not too long ago. Yeah. So with the power starting to get tapped into and having that kind of plate discipline, he's going to be a problem for the other team.
Imagine what happens when they bring Ellie up and McClain's hitting 3 and Ellie's hitting 4.
Yeah, don't ruin this for us, ownership. I know you're tempted to trade it all away for nothing and give us the next Danny Graves, but I really would appreciate it if you didn't do that.
Spencer Steer's hitting too.
Yep.
I was big on him coming into the season. His floor was so high.
Yeah.
His floor's 270.
Yeah.
Just a good everyday baseball player.
We got there a little early, which is customary. If you've ever been to the ballpark with my dad, you never show up when the gates are open. You're always there before. And we had time to kill, so we went to the Reds Hall of Fame Museum, get up to the top, and none other than George Foster sitting at the table signing autographs, who is my dad's childhood hero. So it was really cool for him to meet him, got his hat signed, got a picture with him.
Was that a surprise, or you planned that?
I did not plan it. I knew he was signing that day. I did not know he was going to be right there.
Okay.
As we were finishing up in the museum.
That's cool.
And it wasn't a huge crowd because it was only people that paid for admission to get in.
Yeah.
And just seeing, my dad was able to look him in the eyes and talk to him and tell him a story about when he was a kid listening on AM radio in upstate New York.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just awesome to see.
The pictures you sent me of your dad, he just looked like a kid at Christmas.
That's it.
He was just grinning that grin, and it was genuine. He was excited.
Yeah, it was so cool. Honestly, that kind of made the day for me. And when you're in any kind of sports collecting hobby and you see that moment where people kind of turn into that kid again.
Yeah.
It's cool. That was really fun for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a great time with that. Reds lost in extra innings, but they went to extra innings against the Yankees. So there are some management decisions that made absolutely no sense to me going into extra innings. We had I believe the game was tied. We had a runner on first base with 1 out. And I think Judge was up and we didn't walk him.
Yeah.
I still don't understand. Some of the pitching changes just seemed like Bell was just because making some changes.
My guess they didn't walk him is because Rizzo was up behind him, and Rizzo as a left-handed bat in that ballpark.
Well, the good news is Rizzo did get up to bat and immediately hit a home run.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rizzo in that ballpark is not really fair.
Well, how about Judge?
Well, no, that's true.
So there was some management stuff that kind of stunk. There were cards throughout the stadium. This was kind of cool. It was really funny too. What were they? What were the years I showed you?
I really enjoyed the $91 tops and 91 upper deck at $10 a pack.
But if you went into the main pro shop inside the stadium, they had 23 Bowman at $10 a pack.
Yeah, because Fanatics.
And they had blasters at $50, I think.
Which is crazy, though.
It is crazy, but in a stadium, a beer's $15, $16. Yep. So, with inflation, it makes sense.
Yeah, stadium rip.
I kind of wanted to rip them, but I'm like, if I hit something good,
with you?
Yeah, I couldn't bring myself to it because I damaged a card. So, but that was really cool. The other thing I wanted to say too is that's the first game I've been to with the new timer. It feels like they are hustling to get that next pitch over the plate.
Awesome.
It's awesome. We went extra innings, and I think we were at 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe not even quite that much. So it's working. It's fun. It definitely feels more fast paced.
Yep.
The reviews, the replays, I'm liking those changes. Get on TV, baseball. Figure this out.
Well, so AAA this year is doing something that I think that MLB will adopt next year with the challenge system. So Clippers games, it's fun because each team gets 3 challenges on balls and strikes. And the challenges can only be initiated by the pitcher, the catcher, or the batter. Managers can't. It's pitcher, catcher, batter. Mm-hmm. And the review takes all of about 20 seconds. And they'll show it on the big screen with the automated strike zone. And if if more than a third of the ball is touching the strike zone, it's a strike, not a ball. And vice versa. And it's cool. And what's really nice about it, like the last Clippers game we went to, the Clippers challenged 3 pitches and the ump was right all 3 times.
Oh, cool.
Like, so you can see which umps are worth a crap. I'd love to see Angel Hernandez have to deal with that.
Yeah.
His head would explode. He'd just start throwing people out of the game for challenging.
Yeah. I think it's an improvement for the game, the pace of play, all that overall, but it's just annoying. I found myself 3 times this week. I know there's a ton of games on. I'm on, what am I on? Hulu, and there's nothing on TV. These games are just not accessible. No,
you got to either
buy
MLB TV, you got to have something with FS1, or you got to have ESPN Plus.
And they'll continue to have less and less fans the longer it takes for that to be accessible.
Yeah. The way that MLB's TV deals are structured, there's so many blackouts. Like, you can't watch a Reds game on TV. Yeah. It's impossible.
Yep.
If you're in Ohio.
Stupid. Okay. Let's move on. We do have some news. Well, let's do a product release first.
Okay.
OPTIC football is out, and it's right around $530 for a hobby box.
Insane.
Well, the reason is, Gary, that rookie class is lousy.
Insane. For the same price, you can get a 2023 Bowman Jumbo hobby box with 3 autos, and long term, you're way better off.
Yep.
Like, what are you chasing in football? Brock Purdy?
Yeah.
And his elbow that we don't know is not going to explode the first time he throws a hard pass?
Yep.
Like, it's insane. The price point is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I like OPTIC, but I liked it as like the step up from Donruss. That's it.
I like OPTIC too. And you know what I'll do?
The color parallels.
I'll go buy singles.
Yeah, you can buy singles.
I'll go buy
cheap.
Aiden Hutchinson numbered singles, and I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to be just that next kind of tier down from like Nick Bosa. He's going to be a really good defensive player who's going to have a very big fan base. Uh-huh. And I will go buy his colored singles for $3.
Yeah.
Not $5.50.
No, the prices are kind of nuts on that. In other news, though, however, MJ Holdings is putting a lot of their stuff from last year. A lot of their was just baseball or everything.
I've only seen baseball,
but it's blasters are down to like $17 in stores.
Allen and Ginter, Topps Heritage, Archives are all marked down to $17 a blaster. So if you got a Walmart near you and you're a baseball fan, I mean the Heritage stuff has Wander, it has Julio, it has Bobby Witt, so does Ginter.
Can you hit the row 1 autos in retail? Yeah, those are.
I hit a Brandon Crawford last year in a mega box, of 76, the red.
Okay, yeah. So that might be a play there, especially if you're a baseball guy. And then the other thing I'm pretty excited about: Bowman Megas are being released to LCSs.
Distributed. And today was the release date, the 26th. This is Friday the 26th, by the way. So
those price point on those should be just under $50. We'll see where the LCS lands, but
$44.99 is what they sell for at Target. I think Target's the only place you can get them retail, but they were allocated to direct distribution.
I'd expect 55
shops.
to 60 at those shops for it.
Yeah, if they do that, it's pure greed. And I'm the biggest Bowman fan you're ever going to find. I would never pay that for that product right now. I might pay that for it next year.
Yeah,
but I certainly am not paying that for that right now.
I would, if that's the only ones I could get just to try it, but I wouldn't buy a ton of it.
I mean, I can tell you this. I haven't walked into a Target or a Walmart in the last 3 weeks to a month where I haven't seen Bowman blasters.
I have been in so many and not seen them. I think you must be just ahead of me.
Maybe. And I'm not stacking them all up. I'll grab 2 or 3.
Yeah, I like to open them. Yeah.
But Target's the place to buy them because they're $5 cheaper. They're $29.99 at Target and they're $34.95 at Walmart.
I will say the handful of blasters I've opened, I've not lost on any of them.
No, they're solid, man.
Yeah. If you're reselling, that's the key.
Yeah.
It may not be worth it to you for that. Those paper rookie cards that are $1 a piece are only $1 a piece if somebody's buying them.
Yeah.
So, big news in the hobby.
Yeah. This is big news.
Fanatics is monopolizing once again in acquiring PWCC. As you recall, they got in a little bit of heat with eBay over some shill bidding, and we talked about that in the last year. But you were bringing up there's a tremendous amount of financial strain that PWCC was under. Can you walk us through the loan deal that they had?
Yeah. So PWCC's biggest claim to fame, even before they started their own marketplace.
It is a marketplace.
It is now.
Yeah.
But before that, PWCC was a consignment house and a vault. And the purpose of vaulting your cards someplace, eBay's doing this now. eBay has its own card vault now. And the purpose of it is to save sales tax, because if it doesn't transport anywhere, you're just moving a digital asset basically. So PWCC had this vaulting service. Then after they got kicked off of eBay, they were already in the process of launching their own platform when that happened. But one of the things they did during the boom, and it has bit them in the ass, is they started allowing people who had a certain threshold of value stored in their vault to take out loans with the cards as collateral. The problem with that is they seemed to think that the boom was never going to end and prices were never going to come back to some semblance of reality.
And not just take out a loan with cards collateral. What percentage were they offering?
Like 70%.
That's really good.
Yeah. So say you had a PSA 10 LeBron James Topps Chrome rookie in early 2021, mid 2021, and it comped at 50 to 60 grand. You could take a cash loan against that for get $35,000. And your terms were pay it back as you see fit. If you default, we keep the card. Well, now that card's 12 grand.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, oh, just keep the card. We'll just keep our cash. Y'all have a nice day.
Yeah.
So PWCC was hurting financially to the point where they laid off about 30% of their staff here a couple of months ago. And the rumor mill says that the owner of PWCC and his wife, who were on paper the co-owners of the company, are in the process of a not so amicable divorce. So selling the company makes sense from that standpoint. So Fanatics is buying it. They now have a manufacturer in-house with Topps. They have all the licenses. They now have their own auction platform and their own vaulting service. That is a one-stop shop, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a one-stop shop.
I was super excited when they started buying everything up. Now I get a little more nervous. Of like, oh no, now we're gonna Panini 2.0, but now they have everything.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I will say is that Fanatics as an overall company seems to have a much greater understanding of long-term market strategies and long-term market fluctuations and influences. So they're not, Panini doesn't think about anything. Their whole thought process for years has been, we'll just print stuff, people will buy it. There hasn't been a plan to try to grow the hobby by them. It's just We're going to print stuff. People will buy it. Fanatics has a plan to try to grow the hobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's their goal. They know that only about 1 out of every 10 or 12 sports fans collects cards. They want that to get to 5 or 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that will be good for all of us.
Accessibility is going to be key for that.
That will be good for all of us. I think the question becomes, how do they do that? And are we as collectors going to be savvy enough to understand that they are going to release products like flagship baseball and flagship football that are going to be capital MASS produced. They are going to be mass produced.
How produced?
Mass produced.
Yeah.
Because that's their point. It's going to be like Pokemon is. Like Pokemon manufacturers have said, this is a game. We don't want you trying to. So we're going to overprint the living crap out of this stuff and just deflate the value in the marketplace. They're going to do that with some products.
Yeah.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong. And if you like collecting flagship and putting a set together, go nuts.
Yeah.
But those aren't the products you're going to want to buy from an investment standpoint. They will have products that accomplish that. You just got to be savvy enough to understand what they are.
Yeah. I agree. It'll be interesting to see what happens, and we're paying for that expansion as well.
100%.
So that's part of the trade-off too. I have a note here that Gary wants to once again talk about Pete Alonso. So,
well,
I don't know if I wrote that down correctly.
You didn't, but that's okay.
How should I have addressed it?
One of my new favorite
people still think Alonso is going to the Hall. Is that a better way of saying it?
Yeah, and those people are all idiots. One of my new favorite things is on Facebook. There are a lot of baseball groups and baseball card groups that I'm a part of. And there is a very loud, albeit small, contingent of idiots who think that Pete Alonso is not only worth investing in, but is fast tracking to the Hall of Fame. Like fast tracking there. I don't know how to break this down any clearer, but the dude only does one thing. He hits home runs. So did Adam Dunn. Yeah. Adam Dunn had almost 500 career home runs. What, 470, 476, something like that. Adam Dunn didn't get any votes for the Hall of Fame. Dave Kingman hit 450 some home runs. Didn't get any votes for the Hall of Fame. You know why? Because that's all they did. Mm-hmm. Baseball is not a one aspect sport. I had this conversation with somebody the other day. Like Carlos Delgado, 10 times the hitter Pete Alonso is 10 times, won 3 Silver Slugger awards, won a couple of home run derbies, had a career batting average of 280, almost 2,000 hits, 480 some home runs, almost 50 career WAR. He peaked at 3% of the vote for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso will need to raise his career batting average by 50 points and average 35 home runs a year for the next 10 to 12 years to equal Carlos Delgado's numbers.
Why does it bother you so much that people love him?
It doesn't bother me that people love him.
It does.
No, it doesn't. That
I've
isn't
never
what
heard
bothers
somebody
me.
talk about how much they love Pete Alonso without you immediately jumping into a tirade.
Because it's not that they love him. It's that love gets turned into a false equivalence in their head that because they love him and he's fun to watch, that he's a Hall of Famer. He's not.
Doesn't this happen in every sport, though?
Not as much as it does in baseball. It really doesn't. Like, there are baseball players over the years.
I disagree. How many quarterbacks? This is the same conversation people have with them.
It is?
They're 1 year in, average quarterbacks, and they're like, oh, they're going to be blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but we're not talking about 1 year in. Alonso's in his 6th season. He's got 14.4
I would say David
career
Carr
WAR.
was kind of treated, or Derek Carr.
David Carr was just sacked a lot.
Yeah, Derek Carr. He kind of got that treatment in the hobby.
He only got that treatment because Vegas Dave sunk a bunch of money into him and turned it into a social media thing.
But it was a similar approach, the way people were talking about him. Yeah.
I guess I just think
Is it possible that was the catalyst that got all this going for Alonso, or do you just think it was the home run derbies?
I think it's the home run derbies. And listen,
and he's a fun guy.
He is. He is a really fun guy.
Hung out with him last week.
He's a really likable guy. He will be a Mets Ring of Honor player and a Mets Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
There is zero chance Pete Alonso makes the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Zero. Absolutely zero chance.
Do you feel better?
I do.
How many conversations did you have about him in the last? Was it on socials? What
yeah.
got under your skin? What was the catalyst here?
The catalyst is when people say stupid things like, you're talking about guys who are coming up. This conversation occurred because we were talking about hitters and guys who are coming near the end of their career who are either locks for or close to being locks for the Hall of Fame. Guys like Manny Machado and Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt and Buster Posey and even to a lesser extent Joe Mauer. Guys like that. And somebody said, oh, the other guy is it's on a fast track. It's Pete Alonso. And it's like, no, not even remotely close.
He's on the slow track.
Only hits home runs. He plays a almost worthless defensive position.
We've already been over this. I just want to know what initiates it. Because it's every 3 months we have to trash talk
it's just, I can't deal with that level of ignorance about people that don't understand baseball. That's fine. I'm okay with you not understanding baseball. But what bothers me is when you pretend that you do. It's no different than when I was coaching football still, and you'd get a new coach on the staff who was young, who just wanted everybody to like them or accept them so much that they pretended that they knew way more than they did, and they didn't know when to keep their mouth shut. And then you'd have to embarrass them so that they would shut up because they were wasting everybody's time.
Oh, you had to do it in front of people?
Just the other coaches. You never did it in front of kids because that wasn't good for anybody. But
just their peers.
Yeah, because it's the only way to get them to shut up. It happened to me when I was a young coach. It's the only way to get people, when you have to disabuse somebody of their unreasonable overconfidence. Some people don't enjoy doing that. I happen to enjoy doing it.
You do?
So I do.
I'm shocked to hear you say that.
Yeah, I do. And don't get me wrong, I've had to have people disabuse me of my unreasonable overconfidence on subjects before too. So, I'm not immune from the situation.
I'm with you on the Hall when it comes to Alonso, but I'm holding in my hand a Adam Dunn, Topps Chrome traded rookie from '99.
Yeah,
I'll always consider him one of the best power hitters just because of my experience watching him grow up and watching him hit these home runs.
Yeah.
From a hobby perspective, I totally understand the Alonso hype. I absolutely do. From a statistical analysis and from, is this guy going to be in the Hall? I don't see the numbers that indicate that. We're definitely not on pace for it, but I don't have a problem with people going nuts over the guy.
I don't have a problem with people going nuts over the guy and liking the guy. One of my favorite baseball players ever was Sean Casey. I love Sean Casey. He played the game the right way. He was a pretty good hitter. He played for my team. I really enjoyed watching Sean Casey play and owned cards, but they weren't. I never told people, oh man,
you're missing out if
this
you don't.
dude's on pace. He's going to. No, it's just not how baseball works.
I think in general, more people are giving pause to that just because at the time it was like if you said anything exciting about somebody, their value went up 20%. Like that happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And it's not working like that anymore.
No.
Well, I knew you needed to get it off your chest.
I did.
So you feel better. This has been a shorter episode.
Are we done?
Well, yeah. I don't have notes. Like we've burned through it. 30 minutes.
Episode?
Yeah.
Wow. It's been a minute.
But
should we just pontificate over nothing to?
I don't think so. I think short and sweet and hard to beat.
Okay. Well, today's the 26th, right?
Yeah.
Friday, the 28th. If you're in the Cincinnati or Dayton area, I'll be at the Fairborn Memorabilia and Card Show at the Holiday Inn right there off of 675.
What you doing? You be chilling at the Holiday Inn. Is that what you were thinking?
I wasn't thinking
Have
that
you ever
at all.
heard that song?
No.
Oh, it's legit.
Okay. I don't even know what you're talking about right now. I have zero clue.
It makes me happy that you have no clue.
Yeah, my musical listening taste is basically country music from before 1985. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, it's not.
I mean, I listen to a little bit of other stuff.
The band live.
Oh, yeah. Some 90s rock, like my formative years.
Angsty rebel country now.
Yeah, but it can't be country that other people really like, except for Chris Stapleton.
Well, no, you like to like people that nobody knows
yes,
about.
100%.
Makes you feel smart.
100% true.
Yeah, makes you feel superior.
But we'll be there. And then next weekend, unpaid plug, but the big GSM show at the Ohio State Fairgrounds is June 2nd through 4th. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They have like 30 autograph signers, either really big name rookies that are going into the NFL
Fields is
this
signing,
year.
right?
Fields, Bryce Young, not Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and then a lot of retired Hall of Fame baseball and football guys are there. I don't know if autograph tickets are still available or not, but it's going to be a really big show. I'm wanting to say it's a couple hundred tables. It's a 3-day show. And it's probably worth sticking your head into if you are in Central Ohio.
Yeah.
Although if you are in Southern Ohio next Saturday, I'll be at the Wheelersburg show.
We're taking over the whole state.
Yeah, so come see me there too.
This has been the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye now.
Peace.